This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Paul Hansen. Thurley, Ruxton by Philip Verrill Mighels. Chapter 11. Confirming a Rumor. All evening the telephone was jangling, and the wire was warm with invitations, declarations of friendship, and solicitude for the nerves of the royal little rider who had been all but thrown in the park. Throughout all Swelldom the silvery alarms were tinkling, some as bald warnings to beware of sham, some in sheer trepidation of spirit, and some as mere relief to beings hopelessly burdened with ennui. On the following day, which was Alice's afternoon at home, the stir and the test began. 50 or more of Gotham's elect, including delegates from the sharpest, the wealthiest, and the most inquisitive cliques, remembered that attentions had long been due to Alice Van Kirk, and arrived to meet their obligations. Stuyvesant came at 4, only to find himself helplessly isolated from the princess by others more prompt than himself. He had never thought her so regally dainty, so altogether irresistible and exquisite, as he found her to day when she gave him her hand the moment when Alice formally made them acquainted. She was introduced merely as Miss Thurley, and not by the slightest sign or hint was the claim to royalty admitted. No vision more girlishly lovely, sincere, or disarming than she presented there by Alice's side had ever been known in all Manhattan. To those of the keenly astute frame of mind who addressed her in French or German, she replied in their chosen tongue with piquancy and ease that almost invariably shamed their somewhat puny and unpractised accomplishments in continental languages. The very evasions and faint denials by which Alice parried the bolder assertions that Thurley had been instantly recognised and might as well be confessed only served to strengthen the conviction as to Thurley's royal origin. It was all adroit, tactful, insidious, and it met its just reward. Those who had come surcharged with doubt and ready to prick the bubble of Alice Van Kirk's latest triumph were the first to be self-deluded, and hence the wonder grew. A meagre 5 minutes was the utmost that Stuyvesant and Thurley could manage to detach in which to be even approximately alone. He was simply nearer to her side than anyone else as she sat in the corner of the room. He moved a trifle closer and lowered his voice. "Did you think I should find you yesterday, Miss Thurley, when you gave me permission to try?" She met the ardour of his gaze with candid interest, noting the change that absence of pain had wrought upon his face, and mentally approving his finely chiselled features, the healthy glow of his colour, and the steady level of his warm grey eyes. She laughed. "Did I appear to stop and think at all? You haven't spoken of your wrist. I hope it's mending rapidly." His eyes were shining. "I still prefer someone else to drive the car. Will you sometime permit me to thank you properly?" "Would it be so improper now?" He met her merry glance undaunted. "It would be a sacrilege in the presence of all these persons. Of course you're aware they are simply a lot of self-appointed appraisers, and I'm sure you know I am not." "I must be very knowing," said Thurley, "to know so much so soon." "It's the 3rd time we've met," he answered. "There is always a charm in threes." Her eyes showed mock dejection. "Oh, isn't that too bad? You may wish never to disturb the charm again." He was equal to the quip. It can never be disturbed once established like this. In fact, as soon as you took the wheel that day in the park, it was complete." "I feared it," she answered. "Complete, finished, labelled, and laid away to be forgotten." He was nonplussed only for a moment. "I can see you were never a boy when the jam was labelled and laid away to be remembered." He glanced up quickly, where one of the maids had admitted new callers at the door. "Good heavens!" he added, beholding two exceedingly ample women surging in majestically. "More old dreadnoughts. I wanted to ask, but Alice was coming." Thurley rose, not only to meet the imposing visitors, but also a man in their company. For a moment she wondered, almost in fear, where the eyes of this man might have confronted hers before. Then she knew him, the rider encountered in the park, he who had raced to halt her horse and helped her sudden dismounting. His name was Kelsey Woods. "Shamelessly glad to see you again," he informed her with pleasant boldness of candour. "Sorry not to find you riding out to day." Then his eyes came to rest for a second on the face of Robbie Stuyvesant, heading for Alice Van Kirk. Their glances met and exchanged some manner of challenge that their formal bows made little attempt to disguise. 3 minutes later, when Lady Honour Calthrop and young Count José Vicencio y Faishi, the fiery Spanish-Italian duellist, and Romeo of numerous European capitalists made their appearance, Alice's cup was filled with a violence almost alarming. "Ah, mademoiselle," said the Count, almost instantly on his presentation to Thurley, his voice reminiscent of Vesuvian flames and lavas, "in St. Petersburg I die 3 times to have this honour, mine at last," and he kissed her hand with Italian fervour and Spanish grace, cracking his heels together energetically as he bent his supple waist. "At last my soul is in flight above the clouds. But you do not recall you have seen me, no?" I'm afraid I do not," said Thurley, unprepared for such demonstration. "I'm sure I should remember." "Valgame Dios," he answered from his altitude above the clouds, "you have only changed to become more lovely." Then he met the cold American stare of Stuyvesant's blue-grey and Woods's light greenish eyes, and little comprehended that the course even of a Romeo's ardour may not be so smooth as milk. Thurley escaped with a surge of release to the placid stolidity of Lady Honour Calthrop's presence, and began to wonder how the game on which she had entered would end. It had only begun. The afternoon was a calm, unexcited prologue merely of the complications, rivalries, shocks, and surprises already mustered out beyond, to procession into and through her life, newly launched in its royal career. Conventionality cleared the house within the ensuing hour, but nothing could clear the pathway reaching out ahead, where its windings and grades, its rocky slopes and grassy reaches were alike obscured in the veils of things that were yet to be, too remote to cast a shadow or reflect the glow of the sun. In the next few days full confirmation of the fact that Alice Van Kirk's protégé was none other than the royal Princess Thervinia was vouchsafed from every direction, despite the Van Kirk evasions and Thurley's avoidance of the subject. Besiegers stormed the Fifth Avenue mansion in droves, friends, admirers, invitations multiplied appallingly, and then the Horse Show opened the season of the Goddesses of Wealth. End of chapter 11.